What's up guys, welcome to News2Gamers, the centre of the universe for everything gaming. I'm your host Simon Hill, and what a week we've had so far. We have lots to share with you, so let's get to it. Yes, welcome to another episode of N2G TV, where we bring you the latest news, reviews, interviews and more from around the world of gaming. We have another packed show tonight with a ton of awesome stuff to share with you. Later on, I'll be answering your cries on Twitter and sharing our thoughts on the latest remake added to the Resident Evil franchise in our Resident Evil 0 review. We also see the return of our classic retro feature Respawn, where we check in on the game that started a trend, the granddaddy of all first-person shooters. How exciting. Alongside all of that, myself and Leanne will be revealing the winner of last week's LEGO Marvel's Avengers competition. First though, let's give you the lowdown. Sony have announced a new PlayStation 4 bundle themed around Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. The system, which launches alongside the game this April and comes with a grey-blue image of Nathan Drake on the console with a matching DualShock 4 controller. The system itself also has the Latin phrase, bear with me on this, Sic Parvis Magna, which means greatness from small beginnings engraved on it. I don't know how well I did on my Latin there, let me know. This is also written on the ring that Drake wears in the game. Sony also announced that everyone who pre-orders the special edition system gets a voucher for some additional Uncharted 4 content. This is including a golden weapon skin and a character outfit based on Drake's look in the first game, Drake's Fortune. People who pre-order also get an unspecified quantity of Uncharted points to spend in the game's multiplayer mode. Additionally, should you like the grey-blue colour design and are looking for an additional DualShock 4, Sony will sell the controller separately in March. Uncharted 4 will arrive in our stores on April the 26th, and I for one am super excited. Right, Street Fighter V is getting a story mode that's bigger and more cinematic than anything the series has ever seen, and it's coming as a free update for all players in June. Since first announcing the game, Capcom has been coy on where Street Fighter V falls within the greater Street Fighter timeline. Well, it was finally revealed that Capcom's latest fighter will now have an in-depth cinematic story experience. So, what do we know about the Street Fighter V story? Well, according to Capcom, it takes place between Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 3 and bridges the events of the two games. It comes in two forms, character stories and the cinematic story expansion. The latter is where each character has their own storyline that provides background information and reveals their relationships to the other characters. The main character story comes with the game when it's released. The cinematic story expansion is the one we have to wait 4 months for. Now, this was announced a couple of weeks ago, but in case some of you guys missed it, and plus we wanted to celebrate the upcoming release. So check out this awesome new cinematic story trailer for Street Fighter V. Man, it looks so good. EA Sports have announced another playable legend in their upcoming sports brawler UFC 2. EA confirmed the inclusion of one of the most incredible martial arts specialists in film history. And and it's not the first time he's been a part of the franchise roster either. Bruce Lee will be a playable character in EA Sports UFC 2, developers announced in a blog post. EA described Lee as one of the most gifted, dangerous and charismatic martial artists in history. We are once again honoured to include Bruce on our roster of in-game fighters. If you bought the first EA Sports UFC game and you also pick up the sequel, you'll be able to play as Lee right away for free. Lee can compete in the welterweight, bantamweight, featherweight and lightweight divisions. That's not the only way to unlock him, however. You can add Lee to your roster once you beat EA Sports UFC 2's career mode. Doing this will also unlock Mike Tyson, Baz Rutten and Kazushi Sakuraba. I got it right, check that out. Alternatively, these three characters can be obtained from day one if you pre-order. EA Sports UFC 2 launches on March the 15th for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. For more on the game, which features Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor on the cover, keep it locked right here at News2Gamers. Alongside its announcement of a closed beta for Mirror's Edge Catalyst, developer DICE also shared a brand new trailer that provides some interesting details on the story and the main character, Faith Connors. Recently out of prison, Faith gets wrapped up in a plot with the villainous Gabriel Kruger and his big conglomerate, the oppressive group that keeps control over the City of Glass. Faith finds herself running for something far more important, DICE teases. Catalyst's closed beta will be available before launch on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. You can sign up for the chance to get involved in the beta through the Mirror's Edge website, although access is not guaranteed, but I'm sure you knew that anyway. Originally set to launch on February the 23rd, Catalyst was later delayed to May 24th. Producer Sarah Jansen explains the game was delayed to make sure that when you step into the massive City of Glass and experience the rise of Faith, it's as entertaining, impressive and memorable as it can be. It looks awesome. Let's check out the new trailer for Mirror's Edge Catalyst here on N2G TV.
I once knew a young woman who would defy anyone and anything in order to do what she felt was right. But you're clearly not her. You're broken.
Anything having to do with Gabriel Kruger, we need to stay miles away from.
Look, I thought that this would be a
No, you didn't think, Faith. You never do.
Don't get lost.
Barely out of prison and already stirring things up? Your parents would be proud.
Mr. Kruger, he is out for runner blood. Whatever it is you stole from him must be very valuable.
Stop her! If you keep this up, I swear you'll be dead in a month.
Using every weapon at our disposal, we've got to destroy it.
back off.
Kruger did this, and he'll be able to do it to anyone unless he's stopped.
Get out of my sight.
That's it?
What else is there?
You're wrong. I'm not broken.
Prove it.
So, there's a fighter in you after all.
Okay, so I am definitely making that a purchase. It looks freaking awesome, man. Right, lots of tweets and comments from you guys over the last week. One in particular from Matt Cooper amused me. Hopefully you've learned from your mistakes, Matt. We've also had some great messages about what franchises you would love to see return. I would definitely love to see the return of so many IPs. The likes of Crazy Taxi, anyone? You know, I'd love to see a new Bulletstorm, Manhunt, and one of my all-time favourites has got to be in there as well, Banjo-Kazooie. One game I think, though, everyone would love to see come back would be an all-new, fully creative, open-world survival Turok game. I want it to be really intense. I want it to be gritty. I want lots to explore. I'd love to see a plethora of different dinosaurs, good and bad, be able to take advantage and make the most of them. I'd also love to see some insane weapons and really colourful jungles. Right, okay, I'm getting way too excited about this. Now, Leanne, I want to see what you think about this tweet that came in. It's come from Shelley Marie Summer, and she says, ever wondered if the Queen herself has picked up a console? I reckon she's a Rayman kind of girl. I mean, do you think she has? You know, do you think she's been there with a headset racking up kills on cards? Or do you think she's more of a laid-back 3DS kind of girl, you know, put Mario on for a bit? What do you reckon?
You know, I think she's definitely a GTA veteran. You know, I reckon it's her downtime from the public eye, stealing cars, high-end criminal activity, and spending time in GTA's infamous Vanilla Unicorn. Wink, wink. Right, enough about the Queen. I have loved reading your comments and tweets on what franchises you would love to see make a comeback at this year's E3. You know, my list is way too long. You know, I'd love to see a second Abe's Odyssey. I'd also love Croc from the PS1 make a return. You know, it's such a childhood memory, that game. But one game that I would love to see a reboot of would be Theme Park World. You know, I can't explain how excited I was talking about that in the office earlier. But right, let's see what games you guys have been saying. At the Dan Wilkes says, Metroid. Make another 2D Metroid and I'm all yours, Nintendo. Also, David Gardner tells us has to be Time Splitters. Amazing game and would be awesome on current gen. Ooh, this is a good one. Jason Farrington, Theme Hospital for the PC gamers, Syndicate Wars for the Sony fans, and of course, Outrun for the Xbox players. And finally, Matt Horton dropped us a message saying, I'd love to see a new Oddworld game after playing Oddworld's New and Tasty. The concept of that kind of game still works. But yeah, there's so many amazing franchises we'd love to see return, so keep your messages coming in. Next week, let's bring some silliness to News2Gamers because, you know, we all love a bit of banter, don't we? If you were dropped into the new Street Fighter V's roster and you're allowed to pick your own superpower and special abilities, what would they be? And now we want you to be as creative and comical as you want with these guys. So, you know, maybe we'll have our first Mr. Toilet Plunger Man who can, well, plunge you into a toilet. But yeah, let me remind you where you can find us. Simply tweet us at News2Gamers, drop us a comment on Facebook, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for all your weekly updates. We'll be back after the break as Simon gives the latest review from News2Gamers on the latest Resident Evil 0 HD remaster, and I'll be announcing the winner of last week's competition. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to N2G TV. Still to come, I'll be answering those questions you've had about the latest remaster in the Resident Evil franchise as I review Capcom's Resident Evil 0 remake. Plus, myself and Leanne will be announcing the winner from last week's competition. But first, as you all know, we love to bring a bit of nostalgia back to this show and relive some of the most iconic games of all time. That's in our Blast from the Past feature, Respawn. We have a very special episode of Respawn on the show now, as we've decided to tie it all in with the huge announcement that Bethesda made last week on the release of Doom. It's going to be arriving in our stores on May the 13th. I am so excited, you have no idea. Go to our YouTube page to see the full story and the new campaign trailer. But now let's take a look back at the game that started the trend for first-person shooters. One of the most remembered and iconic games of all time. It was one of those games where it all began for you Call of Duty fans out there. Plus, it scared the living shit out of me. Guys, watch it and enjoy.
Developed in 1993 by ID Software, Doom is one of those rare classics whose notability and significance in video game history can be as equally attributed to its gameplay innovations as to the controversy it generated. The game was technically exceptional for the era and offered players one of the first true 3D first-person shooter experiences, along with Wolfenstein, released a year prior to it. The game sees you play as an unnamed Marine who has been incarcerated on a facility on Mars, where, naturally, secret experiments on interdimensional travel are being conducted after assaulting a senior officer when refusing an order to fire upon innocent civilians. To nobody's surprise, one of these experiments go terribly wrong and demonic creatures from hell begin swarming through the teleportation gates, leaving the player tasked with traversing through the levels while fighting off these strange beasts, avoiding obstacles and completing puzzles along the way to unlock hidden areas. One of the most notable elements about the game is its excessive violence, offering you a host of weapons to barbarically slaughter your enemies in multiple ways. But unlike real-world violence, all of this glorious virtual gore certainly didn't come without consequence, and the game predictably spawned a strong reaction from the usual suspects. Doom's intense levels of graphic violence and satanic imagery even led some to suggest it played a part in the Columbine massacre. In fact, one of the individuals involved said committing the atrocity would be like playing Doom. While Doom was not the first of its genre, upon its release the term first-person shooter was not part of common parlance, and subsequent titles of the genre for almost 5 years were more often than not referred to as Doom clones. The game has been modded almost endlessly, and still to this day has a strong community of fans. Doom is good, clean, wholesome fun for all fans of wanton acts of gratuitous barbarism, and definitely worth dusting off if you can't contain your blood first until the release of the new version later this year. This has been Richard Gullick for Respawned, and now back to Simon for his review of Resident Evil 0.
As I make my way through the mysterious and moody hallways of Resident Evil 0 HD Remaster, I noticed the distinguishing look and feel between the original GameCube classic back from 2002 to the new and polished remake. I've always enjoyed the Resident Evil franchise from the early years of the series. The original take on survival horror made clever use of fixed camera angles, very little resources and rigid controls to create a distinct style of fear. This HD update looks and plays like a modern game even after nearly 14 years from its original release. However, the slight improvements that successfully update this old-school Resident Evil game's look and feel can't cover up its deeper significant problems. As the name might suggest, Resident Evil 0 is set just before the events of the first game in the series. You play as Rebecca Chambers, a medic with the military team STARS, who is sent to search for an escaped convict aboard a train on the outskirts of Raccoon City. The culprit in question goes by the name of Billy Cohen, a murderer you are taking into custody, though the train is overrun by zombies, think season 4 of The Walking Dead, forcing the two characters on opposite sides of the law to team up, obviously. While it kills a little bit of that classic Resident Evil tension, I loved having a secondary character to watch my back in tricky predicaments. What I was really impressed with was the incredible AI of the support character. Initially I was hesitant to equip the AI character with a gun and risk them wasting my very short supply of ammo, but I quickly realised that they are quite controlled and vigilant in how and when they fire a weapon. You can switch between the two characters at any time you wish. This does bring a different element to the classic Resi feel, but in a positive way. Both Rebecca and Billy have totally different styles and attributes. For example, during the puzzle aspect of the game, Billy Cohen can push heavier objects and take more damage, whilst Miss Chambers can use her abilities to mix herbs for various helpful health options. Make sure you take these into account whilst you're solving puzzles, etc. Like most Resident Evil games, 0 challenges you to carry just enough supplies to defend yourself from zombies, dogs and other monstrous animals and creepiness that the game throws at you. With just enough space to carry some of your findings, you spend a lot of the time going through your inventory, deciding what to keep and what to leave behind. However, compared to earlier games in the series, 0 makes these decisions a lot easier by not only offering two characters, but also by allowing you to drop items anywhere you like, as opposed to specially designated storage chests. Still, the game's limited weapon and health resources provide captivating fright as you guide dangerous, uncharted territory. There are times when you are separated from your partner, making the job all the more difficult. You'll more than likely receive calls for help over the radio from a distressed partner, as they tend to get attacked by roaming zombies if left alone for too long. You hardly ever feel safe, and when working on strenuous puzzles, you force yourself into daunting situations, wondering if you'll ever come out of them alive. Keeping that constant tension throughout is a commendable achievement for Capcom and the talented team behind 0, especially given that the game depends on the same methods that are over a decade old. However, there are plenty of occasions when the game turns into the opposite direction, where it becomes too silly and meaningless for its own good. It's hard to understand whether to laugh or taunt when the game cuts from a horde of flesh-eating zombies to an opera-singing villain standing on a distant mountain during a cutscene, or when Billy drops one of his many 80s B-movie grade one-liners. The game is an enjoyable, teasing, frightful experience, bringing nostalgia and excitement back from what we remember in the franchise we all loved and now miss. Resident Evil 0 is just a really good classic re-game. It didn't set the bar for the genre the way Resident Evil 1 did. It's not as ambitious or flawless as Resident Evil 2, but it's far from the disappointment that our gaming history has portrayed it to be for so long. Whether you're a veteran who owned the original back in 2002 or a new fan who has never tried out Resident Evil 0, it's definitely good enough for a second chance. So there you go, Resident Evil 0 HD Remaster is definitely worth a playthrough. You can read the full review at www.expressandStar.co.uk/entertainment. You'll also find our review for LEGO Marvel's Avengers there too.
And talking of LEGO Marvel Avengers, last week we announced that we were giving away a special prize courtesy of Warner Bros. And TT Games. We asked you what your favourite Marvel character of all time is and to send your answers to our Twitter or Facebook page.
We had so many of you get in touch and some incredible answers. Myself and Leanne have picked a winner out of the hat, and the winner is... Can we get a drum roll, please, someone? Thank you. Actually, do you want to announce it?
Why not?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the prize goes to @GreasyBoy for his tweet. Fave Marvel character has to be Spider-Man. Funny, clever, attractive girlfriend, and love swinging.
Straight to the point, just what we like.
Just what we like.
We'll be back next week where I'll be chatting to one of the most amazing developers about their upcoming title for PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. Plus, we also have some pretty awesome news to share with you. I just can't wait.
And I'll be talking to you guys on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for your weekly news updates from N2G headquarters. Keep it locked.